All right, so in today's video, here's exactly what you're gonna get in this no BS guide to move into the greater Sacramento metro. First up, we're gonna break down all of the major roadways and freeways that you're gonna need to know, especially to navigate the Sacramento metro like a pro. We're gonna go over key highways like Interstate 5, I-80, and Highway 50, and show you exactly how traffic plays a major role in picking the right neighborhood for you and your family. Now, if you don't know these roads, you might find yourself stuck in traffic for hours every single day, and it's one of the biggest regrets that we get from people moving to the greater Sacramento metro. Then I'm gonna dive deep into the real Sacramento. I'm talking about the areas that people won't tell you about, the neighborhoods where the best deals are hiding, and the ones that you might regret moving to. I'm also gonna give you some insider knowledge on some of the top suburbs that you might actually wanna live in, like Elk Grove, Roseville, and Folsom, some of the suburbs that you guys keep asking us about, and you're gonna get the full rundown on some of these home prices, some of the school districts, and what life is really like in some of these areas. Plus, I'm gonna be pulling back the curtain on some of the serious new construction developments that are blowing up 2025 and what you need to know before jumping in. And of course, I'm gonna cover traffic, the commute, the pros, the cons, basically everything that you need to know and be informed on to make a decision of where you're gonna plant your roots if you're thinking about moving to Sacramento in 2025. All right, so before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this video, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Lance with the Living in Sacramento team, where we make videos for you guys about what it's like moving to and living in the greater Sacramento metro with boots on the ground. Now, on top of making these videos, Lauren and I are also real estate agents in the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos, we actually love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So that phone number is going to be popping up. Lauren and I are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, or better yet, book that one-on-one Zoom call. Or if you guys want, we actually just made an app for you guys, the Simply Sacramento Real Estate app. If you guys aren't quite ready to chat yet, but you just want to look at some homes in the area, go ahead, download it. It just goes between Lauren and I and you guys. So we absolutely love helping you guys find the best home for your guys' family needs. And we want to strategize and make the move as seamless as possible and not so much of a pain in the butt. Now, first and foremost, we are going to be covering some of the basics of Sacramento, some of the major roadways that you may experience when you guys come in here on your recon trip, or you guys are coming to check out the area for the first time or the 15th time. This is going to be majorly important because understanding the roadways and where things are at, this is going to be super important. Now, zooming in here on the map, we're going to look. Now, downtown Sacramento is going to be bordered by Interstate 5 on the west side. You're going to have Highway 50 on the south side. You're going to have Business 80 coming in here on the east side, and you're going to have the American River that's going to be bordered on the north. Now, we have helped hundreds of clients move or relocate here, and nobody has even remotely lived in the heart of downtown Sacramento. Now, we have had a few people choose to live in neighborhoods that are close to Sacramento. And now, some of the reasons why they may have chosen to live in some of these neighborhoods were primarily for work purposes, to work downtown, they had a government job, or it was lifestyle circumstances. So they're trying to be down here in the hustle and bustle of downtown Sacramento, and they just wanted to be close to all of that stuff. Golden One, great restaurants, all the fun nightlife things to do that you can still experience in the Sacramento area as a big city. But we just wanted you guys to know that a majority of people who are choosing to live here, they're moving out east towards some of these popular suburbs, whether it be Folsom, whether it be Rancho Cordova, Fair Oaks, Orangevale, Roseville, Rockland, even up towards Lincoln, Auburn, Placerville. A lot of the people are choosing to live outside in some of these suburbs of Sacramento, California. So just so you have that going for you first and foremost. Now, before we dive deep into the top neighborhoods, let's talk about some of the most important factors of moving to the Sacramento area, because it's going to be how you get around and the best way to minimize the traffic and or your commute. So traffic in the Sacramento area can be a beast, but don't worry, we're gonna cover how you can navigate that in the Sacramento area. Now, with the greater Sacramento metro being such a large city with such a sprawling metro area, suburbs all over the place, it's going to be important knowing that a lot of people choose to live out in the suburbs, and you want to get familiar with some of these major roads and some of these major mile markers. So coming into it, first and foremost, let's go ahead and clear it off. Zoom in just a little bit so Sacramento International Airport pops up. So right over here, first and foremost, over here on the northwest side of Sacramento is going to be the Sacramento International Airport. That is going to be our primary airport if you're flying into Sacramento from out of town, or if you're flying into Sacramento from out of area, Southern California. A lot of people don't fly up here from the Bay Area, but you are going to be flying into the Sacramento International Airport, right? Which is going to be kind of towards the outskirts of town. Still closer than a lot of airports and a lot of places that you guys talk about, but it is going to be a super great airport where you still can travel for work. You can still do that international travel if you need to, and you're only going to be about a 2-hour drive from SFO if you really got to do some international travel. But I will say flying out of Sacramento International Airport is very enjoyable, and it's a lot easier doing it from there than trying to drive down to SFO. Now, covering some of the major freeways here, again, let's zoom out a little bit further. So we've got Sacramento International Airport up there on the north. So one of the major roads that's going to be coming into Sacramento, which is going to be I-5. This is going to run north and south, and it's going to take you right past Sacramento on the west side of downtown, and it's going to go all the way down towards Southern California, Los Angeles. Now you can take I-5 in California all the way to the Oregon border, and you can take it all the way to Southern California. So it's going to be a long stretch of freeway. The other major freeway that's going to be pretty notable in the Sacramento area is going to be Interstate 80, which is going to come from the west. It's going to cut through Davis, which is considered a suburb of Sacramento. You can go up towards the north and take I-80 all the way around, and then it's going to take you all the way towards the East Coast, going through Lake Tahoe and going in through Reno, and it goes all the way over to Ocean City, Maryland. So I-5 and I-80 are going to be the two major freeways that are going to be in the Sacramento area. Now you are going to have a couple of other freeways that are going to be wildly important. So we do have Business 80 right here, which is going to take you in through downtown. That's going to connect into Highway 99, and Highway 99 is also going to go south, and it's pretty much going to parallel I-5 all the way down through the Central Valley, all the way till you get to about Bakersfield, and then the two merge in Bakersfield. You do have I-99 up here, which is going to go north, and that's going to meet up to High-70 as you get into Yuba City. A little shorter there distance. And then the other two major freeways is you're going to have Highway 50, which is going to branch off along the south side of Sacramento, and that's going to take you all the way up into South Lake Tahoe. And then you're also going to have Highway 16 over here that's going to take you out towards Amador County. It's going to take you up towards the foothills, some beautiful wine country. You've got Rancho Murrieta out there. So those are going to be all of your major freeways. Now, the biggest thing that I want to point out to you guys that I know we just had this happen to us with some showings this past weekend is Sacramento does not have a beltway. So a lot of times people are used to that beltway system. They're used to those big metropolitan sprawling cities where you can get around it, and then everything was kind of almost evenly distributed outwards towards different areas. Now, the thing that you've got to realize about Sacramento is really just the starting point, but it's not the central location to everything in our area. So a lot of people live in the suburbs, and pretty much all of those suburbs are going to kind of shift up eastwards, up Interstate 80 or up Highway 50, going up towards Lake Tahoe, north or south side of Lake Tahoe. So for the most part, Sacramento is really going to be that first major city as you're coming in Interstate 80. You do have Davis out here, which is going to be a much smaller college town, and you are going to have Woodland that's just going to be north of Davis. Again, it's going to be a smaller suburb of the greater Sacramento metro. I know a lot of you guys don't think that those two are suburbs of the Sacramento area, but they are considered a major suburb of the capital of California. Now, with Sacramento being the major city or the major anchor point of our area, you are going to have some pretty awesome suburbs. So you are going to have the city of Sacramento, which is going to be the red dotted line that you guys see on the screen right now. Then you're also going to have what's called Sacramento County. Now, Sacramento County is going to be a much more encompassing area. That's going to include some of the suburbs that you guys absolutely love, places like Folsom, places like Rancho Cordova, Elk Grove, but it's also going to cover cities and areas of the Sacramento metro that a lot of people don't really realize. And when we talk about Sacramento County specifically, we're talking about things like SMUD in reference to PG&E, but this is also a great kind of understanding of how far Sacramento County goes. So it goes down to places like Rio Vista, Isleton, Clarksburg, Walnut Grove, and then it obviously encompasses places like Elk Grove, Wilton, Vineyard area of Sacramento, Mather, again, Fair Oaks, Carmichael, Orangeville, a lot of these really good areas, Natomas. And then you're going to have two other counties that are going to both kind of parallel up towards the 2 freeways. So you're gonna have Placer County, which is pretty much gonna run along the 80 freeway, and then you're gonna have El Dorado County, which is going to run along the 50 freeway. Both of these counties are going to be excellent counties, and again, they're gonna have cities and suburbs that you guys reach out to us all the time. Now, a couple of the main reasons of why you guys are reaching out to us on the channel usually stems from one of 4 or 5 reasons, right? So the first one is gonna be job relocation. So a lot of you guys are getting relocated here because we do have a lot of job growth that's happening in the Sacramento area. We've got a lot of room to build, and we've got a lot of things coming. Stay tuned for that because we're doing an updated video here in the next couple of weeks of all of the new developments and the things that are booming in the Sacramento metro. Now, the second reason why a lot of you guys are moving to this particular area of the state is also because of affordability. Now, I know a lot of times that people will make the assumption that all of California is expensive and that the cost of living here is so high, and Sacramento is still one of the last frontiers in the state of California where you can actually still afford to purchase a home. Now, for those of you guys who are living in Sacramento, I know things have gotten a lot more expensive since you've lived here. We do have a lot of people who are migrating, who are relocating here from the Bay Area or Southern California. They are also just looking for an affordable place to live. So a lot of you guys who are reaching out to us from the Bay Area, San Jose, Fremont area, or people who are relocating from Los Angeles or San Diego or Southern California, a lot of you guys are relocating up here because either A, it's affordable and you can get into an amazing home or new construction home at a really good price, especially new construction homes that are starting off in the low 500s, or the alternative is your dollar goes a lot farther than what it does down in some of those cities that you guys are fleeing from. So if you guys are looking for your dream home or your dream property, or you guys are looking for, you know, a 2,000 square foot single family home, you can actually get that for a reasonable price here, as opposed to spending $1.5 million down where you're going for, and you're getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,400 square foot home. Now, the third reason that you guys reach out to us is gonna be that we are blessed in the Sacramento area to have some really amazing public school districts. Now, I will say that we do have some areas that don't have the best school ratings. Now, a lot of our areas are gonna have school ratings that are gonna go from elementary to the high school that can be anywhere from a 7 to an 8 to a 9 or a 10. We do have a couple of 4s, 5s, and 6s in there, but those are actually not as much as you would think in our area. So we do have a lot of you guys who are relocating here because you guys want better public education for your kids, or you guys are tired of paying for private education where you guys are coming from and you're looking to save a little bit of money. Now, the last thing, and the thing that I think is probably my favorite reason about Sacramento, is going to be the lifestyle. I am a very indecisive person. I like to go snowboarding in the wintertime. I like to go down to the beach in the summertime. I like to do a lot of different things. Sacramento is a really well-positioned place in the state. So if you want to go down to San Francisco, you can go check out some Giants games, some 49ers games, Golden State Warriors games. All the other ones in Oakland, they're not here anymore. Or if you want to head up Interstate 80 to go towards North Lake or South Lake Tahoe for some skiing or snowboarding, again, you're only about an hour and a half away. I think at my best, I've been able to get on the mountain for Sugar Bowl from Roseville in about an hour and 5 minutes, guys. So you are definitely there for day trips. You can go up as much as you want during the week or on the weekend. You've got amazing hiking. You've got the Sierra Nevada mountain range. You've got great things to do all year long, whether it's summertime, wintertime, fall time, or springtime. You have fun stuff to do. We also have a lot of national and state parks that are located within a good proximity, maybe a 2 or 3 hour drive. We're not too far away from Napa if you want some wine country, or you can actually head up towards Amador County, Plymouth, Sutter Creek, all of that stuff up there, and you've got some really good wine. We're also starting to become well known for our Placer County Wine and Ale Trail, which is going to be kind of north up there towards Lincoln, in between Lincoln, Newcastle, and Auburn. So now the last thing that I just want to leave you with, that cherry on top, is that we do have an amazing lifestyle. We get all 4 seasons here. It doesn't snow. We don't really deal with any of that crazy hail or tornadoes or hurricanes or any of that stuff. We're actually really blessed. Every once in a while, we do get a wildfire here, and thank God they haven't happened as often as they did happen about 5 or 10 years ago, but we are blessed. That is the California taxes, some of the weather that we get here. So we do have a lot of that, and that's going to be the 4th reason that you guys tend to reach out to us or tend to think about moving or relocating to the Sacramento metro, is because of the lifestyle here, what you can do, the way you can raise your family. A lot of these cities and suburbs are also great places that if you're trying to live, you're trying to raise a family, even if you're just trying to have a great place, an affordable place to live, you're gonna find that here in this video. So now breaking it in, we're gonna start narrow and then we're gonna span out to some of these suburbs. But within the city of Sacramento, you're going to have some pretty notable places that we've talked about here on the channel before. So I'm gonna start south and I'm gonna work my way over to the east and I'm gonna come up north. Now, there isn't too much over to the west, but there is a town called West Sacramento that's actually going to be just on the borderline. Now, West Sacramento is going to be a part of a different county. It is going to be a suburb of Sacramento. That's where the Sacramento River Cats play. That's also where the Sacramento or the Oakland A's, whatever you want to call them, that's where they're playing. They're playing at Sutter Health Park. You've got the river on one side. Pretty much that's what's going to separate between West Sacramento and Sacramento. But West Sacramento is going to be a great spot where you can be, you know, super close to downtown Sacramento. You can be over here at Golden One Center super quick. You can take the Tower Bridge across the river right here, and then you're going to be right smack in the heart of downtown Sacramento. So West Sacramento is a really good option. Now, if we're sticking with Sacramento, you're going to have some of our major neighborhoods that we've talked about here on this channel before. Some of those neighborhoods are going to be just working our way from the south. So first and foremost, we're going to have Land Park. Now, Land Park is going to be directly south of Highway 50, directly south of Broadway. This is going to be where you're going to find some of the prettiest or most beautiful tree-lined streets in the entire Sacramento area. You're going to have gorgeous houses. You're going to have everything from, you know, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom cottage bungalows, all the way up to some 4 or 5-bedroom gorgeous homes that have tons of character. You have these big, beautiful tree-lined streets that have these overarching canopies. Land Park and, in my opinion, East Sacramento are both going to have kind of similar vibes as it relates to the beauty that Sacramento has, the tree-lined streets, the mature character, the big houses. These are going to be older homes, but they're going to be very well maintained, and you're going to have easy proximity if you've got to go into downtown Sacramento for any reason whatsoever. Those are going to be awesome options. You're also going to have Tahoe Park and Curtis Park, which is going to be kind of down here towards the south as well. You're going to have excellent restaurants that are going to be down here. You're going to have my favorite, which is going to be Gunther's Ice Cream. You're going to have some great restaurants. There's going to be a lot of food options. Sacramento is known as the farm to fork capital, and it's going to be amazing food. Now, coming a little bit further, a couple of the other places that you guys really kind of frequent or talk to us about is going to be the Pocket area. Now, the Pocket area, you're going to have kind of the Sacramento River that's going to come all the way down here, and it's going to be pocketed by Interstate 5. Now, you do have the Little Pocket, which is going to be just north of that, and then you're going to have the Big Pocket, which is going to be kind of your Greenhaven and Pocket area. So these homes are going to be also a little bit older too. These homes are going to be built somewhere as early as the 50s all the way up until the 80s. You do have a couple of newer ones that are going to be kind of 90s, early 2000s, but you're going to have some really beautiful areas that are going to be in here. And the cool thing is from some of these places, especially places like Garcia Bend Park right here, you're actually going to have boat launching access from this park where you can actually cruise it up the Sacramento River. You can head all the way up to Garden Highway. You can check out Swabbies. You can check out Chevys on the River, Crawdads. All of that stuff is going to be up there, but you can actually go and have some fun where you can get a boat and you can go cruising up the Sacramento River, which is super fun. So you have boat access from the Pocket. You also have beautiful trails that kind of come all the way down and they kind of run along the levee here. So you're going to have some beautiful views, some really great things. You also have a nugget down here. So a lot of really good stuff, but the Pocket is definitely going to be another favorite for a lot of you guys. Now, if we move a little bit further south, we're going to come to one of our first major suburbs in the Sacramento County area, the county map, which is going to be Elk Grove. Now, Elk Grove is going to be split along the two different freeways. So you're going to have I-5, which is going to be on the furthest west side of Elk Grove. There's not going to be too much over here. You have some kind of marsh and some open green spaces over here, but Elk Grove is pretty much going to have Highway 99 that's going to run through it. Now, the biggest thing that we always tell you guys is, especially thinking about your commute, where you're living at and where you've got to go to, that's going to be incredibly important. If you have to be somewhere in downtown Sacramento, which is going to be maybe over on the west side of that downtown, closer to the I-5, but you choose something that's going to be more out in the rural part of Elk Grove, you're going to have to cross over one freeway and go up, or you're gonna have to cross all the way across Elk Grove and then go up. So it can be a giant pain in the ass if you have to go all the way across town. You're spending 20 or 30 minutes just getting through Elk Grove, getting through the traffic, and then you've got to hit a freeway and spend another 20 or 30 minutes. That's where we get a lot of people who regret moving to the Sacramento area, is they don't think through a lot of their commuting. Now, if you're blessed with the opportunity to work remotely, that may not be a factor, but we're definitely going to be talking about that with the undertone of what your lifestyle is like, where you guys are going to be going to. Now, the other thing a lot of people really like about Elk Grove is you are on the south side of Elk Grove, being that you are a little bit closer if you've got to cut in Highway 12 to go back down into the Bay Area, or going even a little bit further south, cutting in Highway 4 all the way down into Stockton, and you want to go visit your friends or family in the East Bay, or you still actually got to go into work a couple of times in San Francisco, that can actually shave off some of those times. Elk Grove is known to be one of our top suburbs as it relates to public education. Now, there's going to be 4 or 5 of those that we're going to touch on here, and you're going to notice some themes here also that's going to parallel very closely to where these cities are seeing some of their biggest and massive growth as it relates to new construction. Now, the thing I really love about Elk Grove is you're going to have a couple of different subsections of Elk Grove, and you're going to have a little bit of something for everybody, right? So Elk Grove primarily is going to be built from the north side to the south side. You are going to have Elk Grove Boulevard, which is going to run west to east, and it's going to cut across that entire town. That's going to be primarily where you get a little bit more of that old town Elk Grove feel, especially some of this stuff over on the east side of town. But you know, for the most part, you know, the stuff that's going to be closest to Sacramento, that's going to be some of your kind of older homes. I would say some of your early 70s, 80s. Really, some of that stuff was built out. And then over here towards the south is where you're going to see some of your new construction. So most of your new construction in Elk Grove is going to be towards the south. You do have a couple of little pockets in here. You do have, you know, New Home Company was going to be kind of up here towards the north. And you do have a couple of other places. One that's going to be just outside of Elk Grove up in Sacramento by KB. They have a couple of things over at Delta Shores. And then you're also going to have another community that's going to be a little bit more in South Sacramento. But for the most part, all of the new construction is going to be down in that south section. You also are going to have a brand new Indian casino that was just built right off of Highway 99, pretty much right here next to Promenade Parkway. They're going to have an excellent steakhouse. They're going to have, obviously, if you like to gamble, I'm not a big gambler, but they are going to have a lot of stuff, and they are currently building. So it looks like they're going to be trying to compete with Thunder Valley up in Lincoln as it relates to event centers, but definitely a lot of things that are happening down in Elk Grove. The other thing that Elk Grove has a lot of is going to be parks. Now, you're going to see all these little green splotches and these little green areas. There's going to be a lot of parks. So the biggest one, the one that you guys have seen on this channel the most, is going to be the Elk Grove Regional Park, which is also going to be right off of Highway 99. It always seems like they've got something going on there. They've got a big man-made pond in the middle of the park. They've got giant softball fields. They've got a skate park. They always seem like they have barbecues and farmers markets and everything going out there. But that's going to be one of their big mega parks out in Elk Grove. And then you're going to have a lot of these other really cool kind of smaller parks. So you're going to have this new Bartholomew Sports Park that's going to be right over here towards the south. That one is also a pretty awesome park. That one's going to be one of their newer parks. And then I actually really like Oasis Park. I think that park is super cool. If I was a kid, I'd probably go to Oasis Park a lot. But you're starting to see a lot of these parks with splash pads, and a lot of these parks, a lot of these cities are actually doing a really good job of weaving in parks and trail systems and all sorts of really cool things as it relates to the city and the town. The other thing that I want to touch on right before we finish off Elk Grove is you are going to have a pretty massive aquatic center that, in my opinion, I think is probably one of the best in the area. I know Lauren and the girls constantly go down there for swim meets. It's massive. It's got multi lanes. It's got Olympic-sized swimming pool. It is huge, and it's definitely fun. But you also got a water park. It's right there on the kind of the backside of Cosumnes Oaks High School. But that's going to be a lot of what Elk Grove is known for. You're going to have Now, with Elk Grove being the second largest suburb or city behind Sacramento, you're pretty much going to have anything and everything that you want. So you're going to have a little bit of something for everybody, like we talked about. You're going to have some of our favorite neighborhoods over on the east side, or the west side, I'm sorry, like Laguna West, Stone Lake. These are going to be some man-made lakes where you can actually get some pretty awesome houses on the water for a really affordable price, in my opinion. You're also going to have some ranch rural properties that's going to be kind of over out off of Grant Line Road that kind of butts up towards Wilton's going to be on the south side, but you are going to have the opportunity for some ranch rural properties over on the north side in Elk Grove. And then you're going to have a lot of different like master plan communities. You're going to have a lot of different areas that are going to be encompassing of Elk Grove. So you have a really good entry point where you can get into Elk Grove for the low 500s, even the mid 500s. You're going to have some new construction areas. You're going to have some lakes. You're going to have some luxury properties. You're going to have some ranch rural properties. So you're going to have a lot of different options. Now, another one that I also want to highlight that's actually an unincorporated part of Sacramento is actually going to be kind of the vineyard area right here. Now, the vineyard area also has some new construction that's being built out here right now. There's a couple of builders by, I believe Taylor Morrison is out there right now. They've got 3 different communities. The nice thing about this unincorporated part of Sacramento, or the vineyard area, is that you're still a part of Elk Grove Unified School District. In fact, you're in part of one of the top parts of Elk Grove Unified School District. So you have Pleasant Grove as your high school. I want to say you have Albioni as your middle school, and I can't remember the elementary school off the top of my head, but those other 2 are definitely rated 8s or 9s out of 10. So you definitely have a lot of good options. The vineyard area is an up and coming part of Sacramento, and the cool thing is you've got a good, beautiful golf course at Wild Hawk Golf Course. So you have a lot of really nice things. They are starting to build out this area because we're starting to see so much growth on the south side area between Elk Grove down here on the south, all the way up Grant Line to Folsom. You've got the Rancho new construction up there, and then you're going to have Folsom over here to the south. We're starting to see that road become more developed. We're starting to see more infrastructure that's being put there to where it's actually hopefully going to be an easier way to get through and around and downtown Sacramento. Now, moving a little bit more east, sticking into Sacramento County, another hot topic for you guys is going to be Rancho Cordova. Rancho Cordova is really going to have 2 separate sections right here. You're going to have kind of this older section, which is going to be north, kind of around the freeway, and then you're going to have this south section. It's actually split up into 2 separate zip codes. Everything on the south side is going to be also a part of the Elk Grove Unified School District. You're also going to be a part of those same schools that the vineyard area is a part of. It's going to feel a lot newer out there. It's going to be primarily new constructions. You are going to have a small community out here called Anatolia Village that was built in the early 2000s, but everything else that's going to be pretty much south of Douglas over all the way out to Grant Line Road is all going to be new construction that's actively being built on. In my opinion, this is probably one of the top areas that you could choose to purchase a new construction home. This is the best bang for your buck. You typically get the best lot sizes, and it's usually the lowest cost place out of all of the new construction areas that are happening. It's usually tied in comparison with towns like Lincoln. Now, you do have this old section that's primarily going to be around the freeway. It is going to be a completely different school district, so that's going to be part of Folsom Cordova Unified School District, and it's just going to have a much more older feel. A lot of your shopping, a lot of your strip malls or chain malls are going to be closer to the freeway, but a lot of your other stuff is going to be in that new construction area. Now, a couple of the other things that I also want to touch on here is, just so you're aware of, you do have the Sacramento Mather Airport that's right there. So you are going to get some airport noise that's out here. It used to be an old military base, Mather Air Force Base, but now it's just kind of more of a logistics. They do a pretty cool air show that's out here, but you will get some airplane noise that's out there, whether it's logistics, shipping, anything like that. Now, over here back in kind of this new construction area, which tends to be the biggest thing that you guys like to talk about on this channel, you're going to have probably about 5 to 6 different builders out here, and there's massive development. So right here on the corner of Sunrise and Douglas, you're going to have a shopping center. you're actually going to have two shopping centers, one on the east side and one on the west side. On the west side, you're going to have a Rayleigh's, a Starbucks. I believe you have a Chipotle out there, Jim Boy's Tacos. On the east side, you're going to have a Popeye's Chicken. You're going to have a gas station. I want to say you have a Round Table out there. So you have a couple of different options. For a long time, this place didn't have really good shopping or dining or even restaurant options, grocery stores. Just north of that, you are going to have a Costco out here, so you're not going to be so far remote that you're not going to have a Costco. And then you are going to have just kind of like different shopping and things that are going to be along Sunrise Boulevard. Now, back out to this area, there's going to be a lot of parks that are already going to be built out here. The cool thing is the city of Rancho Cordova is actually building a big soccer complex that's going to be out here. And then you're, like I said, you're going to have about 5 to 6 different builders out here. So everybody from Woodside to Beezer, you've got Cahovnanian out here. You've got a 55 and up community that's also by Cahovnanian, which is really awesome. You're also going to have Cressley, you're going to have Pulte. So you have about 5 or 6 different builders out there. All of them are going to range, Tri-Point's also out there as well too. All of them are going to range anywhere from the low 500s all the way up to about the, I would say probably about the mid to high 700s, maybe the low 800s, but there's really not a ton of like crazy overpriced houses out there. So definitely really cool. You've got a big soccer complex coming in, and then you have some pretty cool parks that are already kind of being built and established out there. So a lot of unobstructed views out there, and you have some amazing sunsets when you guys get out there. So until those other houses get built right now, you've got some killer sunsets. All right, so before we jump into the next section, go ahead and comment down below whether you like these videos, whether you don't like these videos, you know, whether you think we should be doing more of these videos, or you hate us and you don't want us to do any more of these videos. Either one, I don't care. Comment down below what you guys want more of, and especially where you guys are coming from and how we can best help you with this channel. Now moving even a little bit further east, probably to one of your guys' most talked about area on our channel is going to be Folsom. Folsom is going to be a very small suburb in comparison to some of these other ones that we're going to highlight. Now, Folsom is going to be one of the primary areas that you guys reach out to us on the channel about. I think there's a lot of pros to Folsom. There's also a lot of demand. There's also a lot of scarcity to Folsom. For a long time, Folsom didn't have any new growth. So for a long time, if you kind of zero out all the stuff that's south of Highway 50, everything in Folsom was north of Highway 50. So you were kind of landlocked by Folsom Lake on the north. You have Lake Natoma over here on the west, and then you have El Dorado Hills, and then it was kind of bordered by Highway 50. So for a long time, Folsom was kind of maxed out on growth. They also have a state prison, which I know you guys ask us that question all the time. How is one of the most popular cities also got a maximum security prison? I don't know, but it does. But a lot of Folsom was kind of like maxed out in growth. Now, the other nice thing about Folsom right now is you also have some new construction that's happening on the south side of Highway 50. So Folsom Ranch is going to be one of the most up and coming new construction areas that you guys always reach out to us about. You're going to have builders out there like Taylor Morrison, Toll Brothers, Shawwood, Woodside, KB Homes. They've had some Lennar out there. They've had some other builders out there, but right now Folsom Ranch is on the up and up. Now, one of the other things that you guys truly love about Folsom is going to be the fact that Folsom is going to have some of the highest rated schools in the entire Sacramento area. So you really have a healthy, strong job market that's here with a lot of tech companies that are coming to Folsom. You have a lot of, you know, state work like the prison, but you also have a lot of really fun things to do, whether it's outdoor activities, whether it's the cute historic downtown Folsom area, or you want to shave off some time. A lot of times our clients really choose Folsom for a couple of different reasons. One of them being that they want highly rated public education. The other one being is they want to be close or in proximity to nature. So you go a little bit, let's kind of read some of this. You go a little bit north, you're right there at Folsom Lake. You've got an entrance into Folsom Lake. You've got Browns Valley over to the east. You've got the Granite Bay entrance over to the north. So you have a couple of different entrances that get you into Folsom Lake. Folsom Lake is one of our top lakes in the entire area, primarily for boating, but you can do a lot of different stuff there. You can go hang out on the beach entry. You can go fishing there. You can go jet skiing there. You can go paddle boarding there. I wouldn't suggest it, but you can go paddle boarding there. But you have a lot of different things. You can even go camping there. And a lot of people around here probably don't go camping, but it is a destination place for people who want to go camping. Now, the cool thing is you've also got this little lake that's down here towards the south, which is going to be, looks like a river, but it's actually called Lake Natoma. In my opinion, I think Lake Natoma is probably a little bit better of a lake if you wanted to go paddleboarding or kayaking, because it's right before you kind of go into the American River, and that winds all the way down until it connects into the Sacramento. So Lake Natoma is also really fun, but Folsom has a lot of trails. It has a great nightlife. It has a great, solid, tight-knit community, and it has a lot of fun things, a lot of really great restaurants, a lot of things to do. So as we zoom in here a little bit further, you know, Folsom is also going to be one of those towns that is going to be, you know, built from the north to the south. So we've touched on this a little bit. We actually just did a Folsom video not too long ago, but you actually have a really cool neighborhood up here towards the north called American River Canyon. Now there is a north side and a south side, but American River Canyon North is going to be primarily some of their, you know, high-end luxury homes. American River South is going to be somewhat like that, but a little bit different. You're going to have their historic downtown area, which is going to be super cool, in my opinion. The historic downtown area is fun. There's great restaurants. You've got Sutter Street Steakhouse. You've got Powerhouse Pub for music. You've got the Scott's Seafood down there. You've got tons of events. And then you're pretty much going to have a couple of main streets that go through. You're going to have Prairie City Road, Sibley. You're going to have East Bidwell. And you're going to have East Natoma, and they're all going to kind of take you from the north side down to the south side. East Bidwell also already connects all the way into Folsom Ranch. So really good. You have a lot of really good public education, and now with Folsom Ranch being built, you're getting even more new schools. You're getting a new high school in like 2029. You're getting a new middle school, and they already have 2 elementary schools out there. So some really cool stuff. Down here on the south side is going to be primarily where a lot of your shopping is going to happen. You have the Palladio down there. You're going to have a Lifetime Fitness. You're going to have your Costco. So a lot of really nice things that are going to be a little bit closer to Highway 50. And then Folsom's going to really have kind of 3 main exits that you're going to be able to get into if you're coming from, like, let's say Sacramento International Airport, and you're coming up east from Sacramento towards Lake Tahoe. So Folsom is going to be another hot spot that you guys constantly reach out to us about, and you guys constantly ask us about. Now, a couple of other areas that I'm going to touch on here real quick, only because, you know, I lived it and I knew it. But, you know, if you're wanting to be close to the action, but maybe you don't want to pay for Folsom prices, a couple of other options that you guys can look at too is going to be Orangevale, Fair Oaks, Carmichael, and heck, even Citrus Heights. Those 4 areas, in my opinion, are going to be some of the best bangs for your buck, especially some of the stuff that's going to be close to the river. They are going to be a little bit older homes. They are going to be, you know, homes that were built anywhere between the 50s and the 80s, maybe the early 90s, but these are going to be also alternative suburbs that you guys can also check out that might be a little bit more bang for your buck, a little bit more of a trade-off value. You might not have the best of school districts. I grew up in Fair Oaks, but went to school in Orangevale at CASA, so you have a lot of different variety there. Also lived in Citrus Heights for a second as well. So those are going to be some big bang for your buck cities and suburbs that are going to be right next to Folsom, but really in close proximity to Folsom Lake, which I think is kind of the big draw for a lot of people. Now, working our way north from Folsom Lake is going to be a town called Granite Bay. Now, Granite Bay is going to be primarily known for its luxury community. There's not a whole lot that goes on in Granite Bay, so if you really don't live here, there's really not a whole lot that there is to do. There's a couple of shopping centers here. There's a couple of decent restaurants that are here. Really good public education as it relates to the school. And I guess the highlight is you do have the Granite Bay entrance to Folsom Lake that's going to be at the end of Douglas Boulevard. But for the most part, there's not a ton of stuff that goes into Granite Bay, right? So you're going to have Folsom Auburn or Auburn Folsom, depending on if you're asking Lauren, and that's going to run from Folsom all the way up to Auburn, hence the name. But you're also going to have Douglas, which is going to be the main road that's going to run through the center of Granite Bay, and it's going to take you all the way out to Folsom Lake. Now, with that being said, you do have a couple of milestones here on the corner of Sierra College and Douglas, on the corner of like maybe just before Barton Road, and then you're going to have another shopping center that's going to be all the way out here at Folsom, Auburn, and Douglas. So really you only have 3 main shopping centers. You've got a grocery store down here, you've got another grocery store that's going to be down here, and then you're going to have a couple of gyms and a couple of restaurants, but there's really not a ton of stuff that goes on in Granite Bay. The primary 2 things that I think a lot of people really love about Granite Bay is you have kind of a mix between high-end luxury living. You have really beautiful gated communities, guard gated communities, some of the nicest estates in our area are located in Granite Bay, whether it be Los Lagos, whether it be Wexford, whether it be Shelbourne. But you also have really good public education schools. So we can speak to these a little bit more personally, but our kids have gone through the Granite Bay School District, which is really going to be kind of everything that's going to be south of Douglas, bordered by Folsom Auburn, and you're going to have a couple of different schools in there, but the schools here are also going to be comparable to those in Folsom. They're going to be top notch, really good things. But reality is a lot of people in Granite Bay are either going to go over to Roseville to go shopping, or they're going to go into Folsom for whatever it is. But there's really not a whole lot of stuff. You've got a couple of grocery stores. Like I said, they're getting a new Nugget over here. They've got a Safeway, but not a whole lot that goes on in Granite Bay. A lot of people, you're a little bit closer to nature. You can go out to Folsom Lake pretty much easily or anytime that you want to, but that's going to be kind of some of the main aspects of Granite Bay. Great public schools, not a whole lot to do nightlife wise, primarily going to be family stuff. And then I guess you're also going to have, a kind of a mix of estate luxury property as well as some kind of ranch rural stuff. Now, moving west of Granite Bay before we start heading north to some of these other towns is going to be Roseville. Now, Roseville is going to be the third largest city behind Elk Grove, behind Sacramento, and it's also going to have kind of a little bit of something for everybody. It's going to be kind of the parallel version of Elk Grove. You're going to have really killer school districts. You're going to have a lot of things to do. You're going to have, kind of a little mixed bag of everything. You're going to have luxury homes. You're going to have, normal tract homes. You're going to have new construction homes. You're going to have those cute cottage bungalow homes. You're going to have kind of an old town area that's going to primarily be built around the city of Roseville, or the Roseville kind of train tracks that are over there. And then you're going to have all of your new construction that's going to be built out here towards the west. So you really have a little bit of something for everybody. Now, in my opinion, I think Roseville has a little bit more than a lot of other cities. Even heck, I think it's got a little bit more than even places like Sacramento. So in my opinion, you got one of the top shopping destinations, which is going to be on the corner of Galleria and East Roseville Parkway. That's going to be the Westfield Galleria Mall. You're also going to have the Fountains that's going to be just south of East Roseville Parkway. So you have a lot of shopping that's going to be here at that intersection, which is going to be Best Buy, Nordstrom Rack. You're going to have, Old Navy. Really kind of all the shopping is going to be kind of in that section across the street at the Fountains. You're going to have some restaurants. You're going to have some other different shopping options that are going to be there as well too. And then north, you're going to have the Galleria. Now, in my opinion, I think a lot of people end up coming up to the Roseville Galleria Mall more so than the Arden Fair Mall. Arden Fair Mall doesn't seem like they've got a lot of new stores coming in, but it seems like they're always putting in new stores in Roseville. Now, Lauren and I have lived in all three zip codes in Roseville. So you're going to have West Roseville, which is going to be pretty much kind of built right down this center. You're going to have Central Roseville, that's going to be kind of over here off of 80, and then you're going to have East Roseville, which is going to be bordered up next to Granite Bay. So we've lived in all three zip codes, and each zip code probably has a little bit of something special that I think the other two don't have. So West Roseville, you're going to have new construction, which is going to be out here. You're going to have those big major master plan communities like West Park, Winding Creek, Amaruso Ranch, Sierra Vista. You're going to have a lot of those big name master plan communities. This is probably where I would say you have the most building that's going on. You have, great schools that are being built, a brand new high school that was built out in 2022 or 2021, I believe. You're getting ready for probably another new middle school out here. I think with all the building, they're probably going to have to build another high school at some point in time, but West Roseville is pretty much going to have that nice and new feel. Now, Central Roseville is going to have, really kind of two sections. You're going to have a section towards the north, which is going to be a little bit newer, kind of built in the 90s, early 2000s. And then you're going to have a section towards the south, which is going to be kind of 70s, 80s. And then all this stuff that's going to be around the train track, which is going to be some of the oldest homes in Roseville, cute cottage bungalows, some as built as the early 1900s. East Roseville is going to be kind of a blend of both. You're going to have some new homes, you're going to have some old homes. You're also going to have some of these areas of East Roseville that are also going to kind of spill into some of those Granite Bay school districts, which is why a lot of people like that. In my opinion, I think Roseville is kind of the center point of this area. It's easy if you've got to go north. It's easy if you want to go up to Lake Tahoe. It's easy if you got to go into Sac, and it's definitely easy if you got to go into Sacramento. So in my opinion, I think Roseville is kind of that best blend. You're right in the center of a lot of different things, or really kind of this section between, kind of the two freeways. you know, maybe including East Roseville, but that's kind of the best central section, especially if you don't know where you're going to work or you don't have a specific lockdown of where you're going to work. Your best bet or your safest bet is you could probably find something in Roseville or kind of in those two freeways, and you're going to be kind of centrally located to where you're not going to hate your life and you're not going to hate your commute if you've got to go any which direction, north, south, east, or west. Now, zooming back in on Roseville, Roseville is going to have a very awesome trail system for families. They're going to have a lot of awesome parks. You're going to have a couple of different aquatic centers. You're going to have one aquatic center that's going to be over here at Mahaney. You're going to have another one that's going to be the Shalito Indoor Pool. The other thing that Roseville has that a lot of other cities don't is you're going to have a water park called Golfland Sunsplash. Now, this is a great place if you want stuff for your kids to do in the summertime, especially when it gets hot. If you don't have a pool, you can buy a season pass in the summertime and it's fun. They can go to day slides, they can go to night slides, they can go and they can do putt-putt golf, they can do arcades. It's a really fun thing to do. The other thing that Roseville has a lot of is going to be, it has a lot of golf courses. So I know sometimes we get, you know, some of you guys maybe relate to me a little bit. You guys like to go golfing. Roseville actually has 5 different golf courses. It has one private golf course. It has 2 muni courses that are sister courses. Wood Creek over here near Mahaney Park, and you've got Diamond Oaks that is kind of over by the fountains. Those are going to be the 2 sister courses. You have kind of a nice luxury course that's going to be an unincorporated part of Roseville called Morgan Creek. You're also going to have a 9-hole course and an 18-hole course over in the Sun City. Now, as far as a little bit of something for everybody, Roseville is going to have some new construction. It's going to have some entry-level homes. It's going to have some luxury homes out here at Morgan Creek. It's also going to have a couple of active adult communities. So you're going to have Sun City, you're going to have the club at West Park, you're going to have Heritage, and then you're going to have Placer Vineyard that's going to be out here as well too. So you have a little bit of something for everybody, right? You're going to have entry-level homes, luxury homes, you're going to have track homes, new construction homes, 55 and up homes. You're going to have golf courses, you're going to have things to do for the family, you're going to have shopping. So in my opinion, I think Roseville is probably the best bang for your buck. Now, before we finish this video up, we've got 2 more that we're going to touch on, and then we're also going to talk about some of the outliers that you may want to also consider and just some things to be aware of. But the next city that we're going to talk about is going to be Rockland. Now, as we're working our way up north, Rockland is going to be primarily built between Highway 65 and Interstate 80 going up towards Lake Tahoe. You do have a little bit that's going to be on the south side. Rockland does have a junior college. It also has William Jessup University, which is a 4-year. So you've got a couple of schools there that I don't think we touched on too much in some of the other videos, but you do have some college education options up here. You do have some really great public education. You also have a golf course that's going to be over at Whitney Oaks. And then primarily a lot of your shopping is going to be kind of located along this main strip that's going to be kind of closest to the freeway. So you've got Sunset that's going to kind of be parallel over to Highway 65, and then you're going to have Pacific and some of that stuff over there that's going to be a little bit more closer to Interstate 80. Now, everything that's going to be north of this is really just going to be residential homes. There's not going to be a ton of stuff that goes on in Rockland, but I will say Rockland does have a super tight-knit community, especially when you start getting ingrained in some of these amazing neighborhoods like Whitney Ranch, you know, Stanford, some of the other neighborhoods that are really popular in Rockland. These are going to be, you know, at least from our feedback, these are going to be really community-oriented neighborhoods where there's always events that are going on, Easter egg hunts, things to do with the kids, lots of really fun stuff to do. But Rockland is going to share a lot of the bigger name amenities with Roseville. So I tell a lot of people, when you guys come up and visit, or you guys are coming up to do your recon trip, really you could go from Roseville to Rockland, or Rockland to Roseville, or even Rockland to places of Granite Bay, and you're probably not going to know too much that you left one and entered into the other. But really you're going to be sharing a lot of the stuff that's going to be along this Highway 65 corridor. So now, before we go into our last and final suburb and we talk about some of the kind of the outliers that are going to be kind of up towards 80 on the 80 freeway or the 50 freeway, we're going to touch on Lincoln. Lincoln is one of those cities that's also got a very near and dear place to my heart. Lincoln was where I bought my first home. Lincoln is where I spent the first 10 years of home ownership. It's a great little small town. It's also a town that's kind of positioned to have massive growth. So Lincoln has a lot of farmland. It has a lot of agricultural, especially as you start getting up here towards the north. You're gonna have a lot of open ranch land that is eventually probably gonna get built. But a couple of things to really kind of notate about Lincoln. You are gonna have the Thunder Valley Casino. Now, some people like Indian casinos, some people don't, but Thunder Valley is probably one of the best destination spots as it relates to events. So behind Golden One, you're gonna have this brand new event center that's gonna be at the Thunder Valley Casino. You have so many big names and acts and music artists that come to that event center. We've seen Joe Coy, we've seen Tom Segura, we've seen major musicians there. It's crazy. They've got a huge event center that's awesome, and I would say it's probably better than even Golden One, because Golden One, it's not the best of experiences, but Thunder Valley has got probably one of the best event centers. It's got all the other stuff. It's got a hotel if you want to stay the night, have some drinks, but you've got a lot of really cool things going on there. But Lincoln is going to be poised for massive growth and massive new construction. So right now we have some new construction that's kind of happening out here on the back side. We have some new construction that's kind of happening right here on the front side in 12 Bridges. And then we're getting ready to have another brand new master plan community. And they've actually already started to fill it in on the map. And it's going to be called Liberty. Now Liberty is going to have 3 different developments right now. Right now it's slated for Woodside, Meritage Homes, and Richmond American. They're getting ready to start selling in July, and we're going to get you guys out there as soon as possible. But right now we still have Tri-Point that's going to be back here next to the Lincoln Municipal Airport. And then you're going to have communities up at the front like Century Homes, LGI. So you've got a lot of building that's going on. You've also got a KB that's up front. So you have a lot of really cool things. Lincoln is a town. It's got everything but like a Costco. You've got your grocery stores, you've got your restaurants, you've got a cute little old downtown area. In my opinion, you've got one of the best 4th of July shows in the entire Sacramento area up at the McBean Park. And then you've also got some great things like golf courses and parks and everything that really makes Lincoln special. But Lincoln is another one that you guys can come into. It's going to be comparably priced to places like Rancho Cordova. You're going to have a little bit larger lot sizes than maybe you might see in Roseville or Folsom as it relates to the new construction or Rockland, but you're going to get your kind of your best bang for your buck, similarly to that of Rancho Cordova. Now, before we land this plane and we finish this video up, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about is going to be some of these areas that are going to be really kind of on the east side of Folsom Lake, maybe even El Dorado Hills. But as you start climbing up towards Highway 50 or Highway 80, you're going to get really into kind of the foothills. So there are some pretty amazing mountain towns that are going to be kind of along the Highway 50, Highway 80 corridor. Those are going to be really beautiful. Places like Auburn, places like Colfax, Diamond Springs, Placerville, Shingle Springs. There's a lot of really fun day trips that you can check out, and there's also some really cool acreage property that you can get where you can get a little bit further out. You can get a little bit further away from the hustle and bustle of the city, even the hustle and bustle of some of these suburbs that are constantly growing. But these are also kind of, you know, notable mentions that you guys may want to keep on your radar and make sure that you guys ask us questions about when you guys reach out for that one-on-one Zoom call. All right, so wrapping this up, that was some of the best neighborhoods, some of the major roadways, some of the things you guys should know about when thinking about making the move or living here. So we talked about some awesome suburbs, some of the major reasons why you guys are moving here, whether it be lifestyle, job relocation, school district, or heck, even affordability, because you guys are just trying to get into the housing market. But you know, you've got a lot of different options when it comes to making the move or relocating to the Sacramento area. We've lived here our entire life and we know this place like the back of our hand. So the best thing that we can do is hop on that one-on-one strategy session or Zoom call where we can talk specifically about your goals, your lifestyles, what you guys like to do, what you guys like to do for fun as a family or as an individual, and figure out what the 1 or 2 areas that might be the best bet for you guys as it relates to making the move to the greater Sacramento metro area. So that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So give us a phone call, shoot us a text, or send us that email, and we'll see you guys on the next one.